Welcome back. We know you're looking for clarity in a global marketplace that is often complex, opaque, and, well, sometimes outright volatile. We are the Gambling Databases research team. We're a group dedicated to delivering these in-depth analyses of the global iGaming landscape. In each country-specific report, we explore key aspects like local regulations, taxation, player experience, operator conditions, and, of course, emerging trends. Our goal is really to provide you with a clear, data-driven understanding of how the gambling industry functions within each market and what makes it unique. Today, we're turning our focus to Guinea-Bissau, a West African nation that might, on the surface, present itself as one of those, high-risk, high-potential frontier markets. But after reviewing the source material, the data points to a far more definitive and, frankly, a much starker conclusion.
It does, and we feel we need to give you that conclusion right away. For any professional organization, even considering entry, the verdict on Guinea-Bissau is absolute. This is not a viable market, and it must be avoided entirely.
That is about as blunt a warning as we ever deliver. If the potential is that low, what metrics are driving this extreme caution?
The underlying scores are, well, they're damning. We assessed an operator E-score of just 2.5 out of 10.
2.5.
I know. It means professional entry is nearly impossible. And the player access score is only slightly better at 3.5 out of 10. But what's really fascinating here is that the low scores aren't caused by one single failure. It's a perfect storm. It's a combination of legal, political, economic, and, frankly, catastrophic infrastructure challenges that make professional profitability mathematically impossible. We have to untangle that entire stack of failure points for you.
A perfect storm sounds dramatic. Where do we even begin with that? Let's start at the root cause, I suppose, the legal picture. Why is this environment described as a void?
It's a void because Guinea-Bissau operates in a complete regulatory vacuum when it comes to iGaming. There is no formal legal framework governing online activities at all.
Okay, but most operators hear no regulation. They might think, great, no compliance costs, no taxes, what's the catch?
The trap is that the critical barrier is the absolute lack of legal recognition. Since no licensing framework exists, it is fundamentally impossible for an operator to obtain a domestic license.
So you're offshore by default.
You are operating entirely offshore, completely unregulated, and unrecognized by the state. This is not a free-for-all. It's a legal Wild West where you have zero protection.
And this vacuum isn't just bureaucratic, is it? It reflects deep-seated cultural and political resistance.
It absolutely does. The dominant religion in the country is Islam, which, prohibits gambling. This cultural environment contributes significantly to the government's reluctance to formalize the sector.
So legislative action to legitimize the market is unlikely.
Highly unlikely anytime soon, yes.
There's also some history here. Our sources mention a ban a few years ago that targeted local land-based operations.
That's right. In 2019, the Secretary of State for Tourism officially banned the informal land-based gambling sector. Locally, they were known as colos.
Colos?
Yes, essentially small, often illegal betting dens or lotteries. And while that ban didn't explicitly extend to online betting, it sets a really chilling precedent.
It shows the government is willing to just shut down the sector abruptly.
And aggressively.
Okay, that lack of formal recognition quickly leads us into serious financial and compliance risks. This is vital for any organization worried about international standards. For instance, what about AML and KYC?
Well, since no formal compliance obligations exist, there are zero standards for things like Know Your Customer or KYC, which verifies player identities, and no mandated anti-money laundering or AML procedures.
Which is a massive international liability.
A huge one. And if we connect this to the bigger picture, Guinea-Bissau is rated partially compliant or outright non-compliant by the Financial Action Task Force, the FATF, on most AML recommendations.
And for those unfamiliar, the FATF is the global money laundering watchdog. That's a huge red flag.
It signals systemic weakness, creating extreme money laundering risks for any financial service provider or operator even touching the market.
That's especially concerning when you think about how most digital transactions actually happen there.
Precisely. Mobile money services are the financial backbone for many. They make up over 5% of the country's GDP. The lack of oversight of these platforms, combined with weak AML enforcement, just multiplies the vulnerability.
And this whole house of cards sits on a foundation of political instability.
Chronic instability is a core risk, yes. The country ranks 174 out of 190 for ease of doing business globally. Its corruption perception index is only 22 out of 100.
So the rules could change tomorrow.
The regulatory landscape isn't just unpredictable. It could be completely upended overnight. due to political shifts, leaving professional operations entirely exposed with no legal recourse.
So if the regulatory structure is non-existent, what about taxation? We mentioned there are no taxes on revenue or winnings. On paper, that sounds like a benefit.
It's not a benefit. It's a zero-sum game. There are no taxes because the legal basis to collect them does not exist. This isn't a favorable tax policy. It simply reflects the total absence of infrastructure.
You can't be taxed if the government doesn't legally recognize you exist.
Exactly.
Let's pivot from the legal quagmire to the physical reality of the market. The infrastructure and the players. Even if an operator ignored all those legal risks, can a modern digital platform even function here?
The answer is overwhelmingly negative. The infrastructure deficits are catastrophic.
Catastrophic.
Start with connectivity. Internet penetration is only 32.5%. That means two-thirds of the population, a massive 67.5%, has no internet access whatsoever.
Wow. And for the third that is connected, what's their experience like?
Average speeds are modest. They hover near 5 megabits per second, so that's already a speed barrier for anything data-heavy like live casino streams. But here's where it gets really interesting. According to our research, there is currently no official 3G, 4G, or 5G support deployed in the country.
Wait, what?
Connectivity relies almost entirely on older 2G networks.
2G? That's like trying to run a modern, graphic-intensive video game on a dial-up connection from the 1990s. That must cripple the modern mobile gaming ecosystem.
It does. Completely. Modern applications are just not designed for that bandwidth. The mobile gaming experience is severely limited.
Are there any signs of that changing?
There are future indicators, yes. The country has launched a national digital transformation strategy for 2025 to 2030, and they recently approved Starlink for a license in April 2025. But those are long-term shifts. They offer zero relief for operators today.
Okay, let's look at the customer profile. Guinea-Bissau has a very young population, median age 19.4 years, which normally would bode well for digital adoption. But demographics run into economic reality fast.
I absolutely do. The defining constraint on this market is extreme poverty. GDP per capita is only $963 annually.
Under $1,000 a year.
Which severely limits discretionary spending. So even for that connected third of the population, we're talking about micro-scale spending power.
And their financial behavior is dictated by this, right? A lack of traditional banking access.
Correct. Mobile money platforms, things like Orange Money and MTN Mobile Money, are the essential digital payment channels. This is critical for any online transaction, as traditional banking penetration is very, very low.
So if a tiny fraction of this young, connected population finds some spare cash, what are they even betting on?
Well, participation in gambling overall is very low. We're talking under 5%. And the current activity is hyper-focused on really traditional low-tech options.
Like sports betting.
Sports betting, yes, with about 3.1% participation, and lottery at 2.5%. The market for online casino games, slots, or other high ARPU verticals is virtually non-existent.
And that brings us to the financial nail in the coffin. We need to talk about ARPU.
We do. If we look at the average revenue per user, or ARPU, which is the average annual amount spent by a customer, it is estimated at an extremely low $15 per year for 2025.
$15 a year.
$15 annually.
Per user. That brings us to the segment that just proves this market is a guaranteed loss, the economic non-viability. So what does this all mean when we put the infrastructure failures and the low spending power together onto one balance sheet?
The final math is brutal, and it's the definitive reason for avoidance. The total estimated market revenue for all iGaming activities in Guinea-Bissau for 2025 is projected at only $3 million.
$3 million.
Total. And that revenue is split among an estimated addressable user base of just 30,000 people.
Okay, $3 million total market size. Now let's compare that to the investment required for a professional operation. I mean, you still need servers, security, AML processes, marketing, even if you're offshore.
Right. Our estimates show the initial investment required for a professional, platform-based operation is at least $500,000, probably more. And your monthly operational costs in such a difficult, high-risk environment could easily run between $50,000 and $100,000.
The conclusion is just unavoidable. The simple math demonstrates that the initial $500,000 investment and, a few months of op costs would instantly exceed the total revenue generated by the entire country's market.
Profitability is mathematically impossible for professional operators. The cost to acquire and maintain a customer in this difficult, low-penetration environment would instantly dwarf the $15 they spend in a year. It's a guaranteed loss scenario.
Let's give a listener the final, concise summary. If they're looking for a summary slide on this, what are the 6 ironclad reasons for avoidance?
You must stay away due to, first, microscopic market size, only 3 million annually. Second, catastrophic infrastructure, relying on 2G with 2/3 of the population offline.
Right.
Third, zero legal framework. No licensing is possible, which creates total exposure and no legal protection. Fourth, extreme poverty. Minimal disposable income, very low ARPU. Fifth, severe AML and FATF risks, which exposes operators to international sanctions. And sixth, chronic political instability.
So it's not a frontier opportunity.
It is not a frontier opportunity. It's a red flag market.
That is a powerful and definitive assessment drawn entirely from the data. And it does raise a fascinating, broader question about development and governance in emerging nations.
It raises a very important question. When a country approves advanced infrastructure like Starlink and launches a robust national digital transformation strategy, but fundamentally lacks basic regulatory governance and economic stability, does that push for technology ultimately increase or decrease the consumer risk in the short term?
It sounds like technology, in this case, just creates a pathway for the small, vulnerable population that is connected to participate in a market with zero consumer protection, zero dispute resolution, and extreme financial risk.
Absolutely. The case of Guinea-Bissau teaches us a crucial lesson. Technology adoption, whether it's mobile money or future high-speed internet, is only one piece of the puzzle. Rule of law and political stability are the non-negotiable prerequisites for sustainable and ethical market development.
Without those foundations.
Without those foundations, technology just makes the chaos slightly faster.
It's sobering, but entirely necessary analysis. Thank you for exploring this uniquely challenging market and for providing such clear, data-driven insight into what defines a completely non-viable market. For the full text of this and other country reports, visit our website at gamblingdatabases.com. We appreciate you taking the time to explore this analysis with us, and we look forward to the next one.